Today I wanna share with you my first thoughts about Heroes of Might and Magic Olden Era. This title will be released for a couple of months from now in 2026. Now we have the October of 2025, but a few days ago a demo was published on Steam, and everybody can play it with four different castles, and two castles or two factions will be in the full game. And these are my first thoughts about it. I played it for a little less than an hour, honestly, but I am a veteran of other games, especially of Heroes of Might and Magic 1, 2, and 3. Third installment I finished two or three times with all DLCs, all expansions, and even Heroes Chronicles. So I played fifth installment and sixth, and I didn't play a seventh installment. But general opinion is that Heroes of Might and Magic 3 was the best. First was very old, from 1994, and we see that the graphic in Heroes of Might and Magic 1 is rather primitive, and it was, I think, even primitive on this 1994. But second Heroes of Might and Magic 2, published in 1997, was a real revolution. The graphic, because the creatures were mostly cartoonish and 2D, so it was mostly pictures, not 3D models, and they look astonishingly beautiful for those periods of time. So nobody suspected that heroes can be even better regarding to graphics, to using spells, to different factions, because each faction was really different and each monster looked unique. And then in 1999, Heroes of Might and Magic 3 was published, and this was a real revolution. In many countries, still we have championships of Heroes of Might and Magic 3, including Poland, where I am from. So Heroes of Might and Magic 3, and then later two major expansions, finished a perfect game. Heroes of Might and Magic 3 is a perfect game. It deserves 10 out of 10 in this genre. Unfortunately, later Heroes Chronicles were the campaigns for Heroes of Might and Magic 3, but they didn't bring anything new. And then we had Heroes of Might and Magic 4 and expansions, Heroes of Might and Magic 5 and expansions, and then 6 and 7, and they were really weak games. They were completely you cannot compare them to Heroes of Might and Magic 3. And regarding to not only graphic, not only music, not only gameplay, but just even the plot. Even the plot in Heroes of Might and Magic 3 was interesting, because in Heroes of Might and Magic 3 we are the Queen Katerina, and she was a spouse. Oh my God! A wife to Roland. Roland won Heroes of Might and Magic 3 on the continent of Enroth, but here Catherine is coming to help her father with his succession, and her father is ill, or maybe kidnapped, or maybe even killed, and we are beginning new adventure on the new continent. Even trailers, or let's say movies, or demos, as we call them sometimes, of the cinematic movies of Heroes of Might and Magic 3 were really impressive. They are still maybe not good on our times, but they were really impressive on 1999. So it's 26 years since Heroes of Might and Magic 3 have been published. And it is considered by a great majority, if not by all players, the best in this specific franchise. And right now we have a first try to go back to the roots, to go back to the best, to the best of the best, so to the third installment, because fourth Heroes of Might and Magic 4, 5, 6 and 7, they were mostly 3D models, 3D graphics, 3D everything. And Heroes of Might and Magic 3 was isometric point of view, so it's like 2.5D, let's say. And everything in Heroes of Might and Magic 3 was 10 out of 10. Graphics, animations of the monsters, unique abilities of the monsters, music outside the castle, music in the castle, music at the end of the campaign, unique abilities of the heroes, unique histories of the heroes, artifacts, combination of artifacts, spells up to 5th level, magnificent, the skill abilities. Everything was colorful, everything was beautifully written. Even icons of the resources, sulfur, crystals, emeralds, wood, iron, everything was beautifully created, drawn, and shown to us. It was a real marvel to the eye and to the even to the ear. And now we see that Olden era is trying to copy is a negative word, I would say. Influenced, Olden era is influenced by Heroes of Might and Magic 1, 2 and especially third installment, but unfortunately it is worse in I would say worse in any of those brackets and any of those tiers. First of all, the least concern to me, loading screen, and Olden era is playing like a fifth installment. Heroes of Might and Magic 5 was really clunky, clutterish, and very slow. So I know that in Olden era you can you can make faster your battle and movement of the of your creatures, but it is cluttering. Like fifth installment, like fifth in the series. It's a little bit like you are driving a car without any enhancements. So it's really stutter. It's really clunky. It's really like something is wrong. You feel it. You feel it that something is just wrong. Then major issue with me is that this is probably the darkest game I have ever seen. It's completely dark. When you are, for example, outside the castle, all terrain is brownish, grayish, looks like an ash with brown and black. So you cannot see anything. I couldn't see monsters. I couldn't see artifacts. I couldn't see resources. I couldn't see. I barely see any buildings, and I was not sure if there is if this is a building, this is a creature, or this is a resource, or this is something else. So too dark, and palette of colors is too dim. It's too ashy. It's too grim. Because, for example, in the third installment, you have probably even 8 factions, and each of them has their unique terrain. So for example, Wizards of Brakada, on their terrain there was always winter. When you played as a dungeon, you mostly played in the Underdark, because you have two levels of map: Underdark and outside terrain. For example, when you were playing like a swamp castle, it was on a swamp mostly, and it looked like a swamp structures. So it was a really good connection to see that the terrain is responding to the castle and the faction which is inhabiting those areas. For example, you have Rampant, and this is like elves, dwarves, unicorns, golden dragons, and Pegasus, and they were mostly on a very greenish, colorful terrain. And here I have been playing so far only with one faction, with Dungeon, and it looks so dark that I cannot see anything outside the castle and inside the castle. And other major issue: when you are in the castle look really good. It look really good. You can, for example, in dungeon you see a flying dragon flying around your main structure, but it looked for me two Heroes of Might and Magic 5 like castle. So for example, you are building a structure and you cannot see what have you built, what have you been built, or what have you built. Okay, let's leave it at that. So I cannot see the structures, I cannot see the buildings which I have built. I cannot see them like in fifth installment, in third installment, in the best installment. When you, for example, were a dungeon, you, for example, build a manticore nest, and you already seen that this is a manticore nest. You see the building, it was beautiful, you wanted click on it. When you build a troglodyte structure, like a nest or something, you saw that this is the specific structure. When you build a harpy's nest, you see that this is a harpy's nest. When you build a minotaurs, where they live? In labyrinth. So you build a building looked like a labyrinth, and it was all seen. It was really beautiful. It was astonishingly beautiful. It was even it gave you pleasure that you have built those structures and you watched them. They looked really beautiful, and here it's almost like in fifth that installment, that you have this major big structure and you build on that structure lesser structures, lesser buildings, lesser facilities, and they merge so heavy that you cannot see anything. You cannot see apart buildings. You see only this one big monumental structure, and that's all. And for example, resources are they are almost not visible, so I cannot see them. I cannot discern them from the castle. I cannot discern them from the menu. I cannot discern them from the menu of the game. The menu of the game is so dark. The HUD, let's say, in abbreviation, the HUD, that you cannot, for example, discern that this is sulfur, these are emeralds, this is iron, this is wood. I cannot see anything. I cannot see anything in the game, in the castle. And now let's talk about the battles. The battles, because you have a strategic point of view when you, for example, traveling with your hero, and you have a tactical view when you are commencing battle. And first issue is that the battle and the battlefield, it's really good or well planned and graphically almost as, let's say, maybe not almost, but but it is okay, let's use this word, almost like in Heroes of Might and Magic 3, but it's too dark. You cannot see where are almost your units are so alike looking that, for example, when I had 3 units, dark elves, troglodytes, and dark dancers, I couldn't discern one from another. They look almost like they are the same unit. I know it's weird because troglodytes have no eyes and so on, but they look they are so green. They are using so much green colors, so much ash colors that you cannot discern your units. And for example, most of them have 2 or 3 attacks, and all those attacks even have levels. But for me, I completely don't care. I want a battle to be swift, to be dynamic, and so on. And often, for example, when I see the enemies and they are close to my units, I cannot discern which unit is mine and which unit is the enemy. And I fight with some devilish like monsters, and I couldn't discern them because there is so much darkness that even if the characters are uniquely written and they have unique animations, they look too and the animations, their attack is too blunt. Because in Heroes of Might and Magic 3, when for example Manticore attacked, she attacked with her tail. When you use a Minotaur, he used a huge swift of his axe. When you attack with the troglodytes, they use their spear to attack. When you have the dragon, he used his flame breath to attack. And what else? So you saw that each unit, because in Heroes of Might and Magic 3 almost all units have special ability, but only a few of them you can use it on your own. Most of them were passive, or they were using them on a chance. But here they have those specific types of attack, but you don't care because it damages the dynamic and the flexibility and the smoothness of the battle, completely damaging it, because the battlefield is too dark, is too green, too ashy, you cannot see anything. And even spells, they look okay because they are not too flashy, but they have no impact. Like for example, in Heroes of Might and Magic 3, when you cast lightning, you saw that this is a marvelous, blunt, crude like lightning. When you use chain lightning, the same. When you use even defensive spells like blessing or blood just or curse, you saw beautiful animations of those spells. They were uniquely written and uniquely animated. And here you see a flash from a half of a second, and that's it. And the book of spells is not as beautifully shown as in the third installment, as in Heroes of Might and Magic 3. And monsters, and for example, I heard that in a faction of undead, the last creature is a vampire. The last creature is a vampire. What? In third installment in Heroes of Might and Magic 3, undead have their unique undead-like dragon, and here they have a vampire. The last creature, the last tier creature. It must be changed immediately. It must be changed. And also the demo of the beginning. At the beginning, you have the demo, like an animation movie, like in World of Warcraft. But first of all, it's completely mediocre when I'm comparing the graphics and the animations and the colors and the design. And it's completely without any sense, because you see elves, they are angry that humans are building their town as a civilization, and the elves want to live in forests. They attack humans. Then Elvish Queen is using some kind of a humongous spell, and then all of them are dead, and then undead are resurrecting all of them, elves and humans alike, and you see dungeon with minotaurs fighting the undead. You don't see a sense in this animation movie, and you don't see a sense in Heroes of Might and Magic 3 campaign, because campaigns were important. Even in fourth, for example, fourth Heroes of Might and Magic was about at the end of the second expansion of Heroes of Might and Magic 3, very strong heroes were fighting with each other with unique swords. And when they merge those swords, or when they clash those two swords with each other in one big swing, the continent was set ablaze, to the point that all races need to escape, not to another continent even, but another world like. So it was really interesting that it had a connection between third and fourth, for example. I'm not sure about in fifth. There were also some connections with Griffin Empire and so on. I'm not sure about 6 and 7, but here you don't see, because I heard that this is the continent from seventh installment of Might and Magic, because you have two, let's say, similar games. Similar to the what I mean by that, they are in the same world. So you have Heroes of Might and Magic, and you have RPG games like Might and Magic. And Might and Magic, it's I think 10 games, and Heroes of Might and Magic is 7 games. And for example, Might and Magic 7 was directly involving and alluding to plot lines of Heroes of Might and Magic 3. So it was really interesting that you have two separate games, because Might and Magic is a classical RPG like dungeon game, and Heroes of Might and Magic is of course a strategic turn-based game. And here you have this demo, and this demo is not telling you anything. And the last part, the music is first of all, it's too loud, it's too aggressive, it's too Horus-like, but Horus-like in a negative way, in a negative sense. It's too loud, too aggressive, too scratchy, too enigmatic, and too loud. Without and it's loudly aggressive. And then I was also pissed because it is similar to the main tone of Heroes of Might and Magic 5, because the look and the camera of the castles and the music is similar to the music and the look of the castles and the graphic of the castles of 5th installment. And 5th installment was not good. It was mediocre. It was completely mediocre, and that's it. And because music in Heroes of Might and Magic 3 was like a smooth silk, milk, chocolate-like thing. It was really marvelous. The uniqueness of the music of each castle, because each castle has unique music and each terrain has unique music. Really beautiful and really corresponding to the faction. So for example, dungeon lords or overlords, they have like a not aggressive but cunning like music, because mostly they live under the sun, and they only attacked when they see the opportunity. Barbarians, they have really like almost like a sad music of plains, like vast plains or vast prairie like thing. Bracada, a unique castle of wizards, very pompateus, very bombastic, but in a good sense. Very like I am the Gandalf and I can everything, and you need to bow to my magic because I am the lord of the wizards. Really unique, rampant, very like Tolkien, very like Horus-like, but in a good sense. Even better than, for example, Tolkien or Fellowship of the Ring in Lorien. Even better than that. When they meet, when they meet Galadriel, better than that. So each faction, or for example, undead, they have this like almost like fallout like wasted like wasteland like nothing lives, only fumes, lava like lakes, and everything is dead. Every castle unique, beautiful, and here although maybe the worst part of Heroes of Might and Magic Olden Era for me, it's like it was made by a chat GPT and AI. It was like, we don't have resources, we don't have money, we don't have time, let's put these ideas from the third installment to the chat GPT, to our AI programs, and create something new. And because the good part of Olden Era is that it will be probably better than 4, 5, 6, and 7 installment. So it will be only worse to third and second. But for me, it's not an asset. It's not an asset, really, because for example, I want to build a building and I cannot see how I can build this building because I cannot see resources. What resources I'm lacking. I cannot see it, and I'm pissed because it's so dark that I don't want to focus on that. I want to travel, to visit. Can you imagine you play like in Heroes like game, and this problem was not even in 5th and in 4th. That you are traveling to your through your map and you cannot see anything. You cannot see a road. You cannot see where the entrance to your castle is. And for example, most of the time I want to put my hero into the castle to take units, and I'm just clicking on the castle because I cannot see the change of the icon, because you have like two moves. You can visit your castle just randomly, or you can put your heroes and go with your hero to the castle. And these are two separate icons, but I cannot discern them. It's so dark. They are not. And the portrait and the look of the hero is too dark. It's too dark and too generic, like made by AI. So I see that even though they have, like, for example, 1 year until publishing the full version, I see that that they have much work to do to improve it on many levels. On a level of music, on a level of terrain, on a level of animations, on the level of character models, because they are. They have the potential, they look good, but the gameplay and the terrain is so everything is merging with everything. You cannot discern buildings from resources from items from mines. In demo, when they show a short clips of Olden Era, it looked better, I think. Here, when I'm playing, and my friend is playing on a vast TV monitor, 32 inches, curved VA, so with beautiful blacks, and he has problems with discerning what is what. It's a major issue. Music, look of the creatures, their attacks, their abilities, and the darkness of everything, and not only darkness but just because you can, for example, bright your monitor, but this is not the issue. The issue is that the colors are too look alike. They use brown, ash, gray, white, dark white colors. It's a major issue. Major issue. So for me right now, my first thoughts are that they have a potential, but because I wanted to play more. I wanted to play more factions. I wanted to gather more artifacts, use more abilities. But these first disadvantages decided that I wanted to play Mass Effect 1 again. Or maybe even something even worse. I wanted to play Heroes of Might and Magic 3 again, to see once again how good was that game. So guys from the olden era heroes, if you seeing these first thoughts, this a little bit a sneak peek of a review, focus on that issues, focus on them and repair them as fast as you can do it, as you are able to do it. Let me know in the comment, guys, what do you think about Heroes of Might and Magic Olden era.